All right, guys, it's Paul Singh, the Market Speculator, with the trade report for Friday, September 8, 2017. I'm recording this Thursday evening. If something significant happens in the morning, as usual, I'll send a note out. We've got Irma hitting Florida. We've got a ton of trade report members in the area. So hopefully everyone's okay, and we'll see how the market reacts as well. But when it came to the Texas hurricanes, it seemed to handle it all well. So I think the market itself will be okay. And let's take a look at SPY here. Still holding that 9, looking pretty good. Obviously, we'd like to see a green day, but essentially break even, no harm, no foul, and holding the 9. So not much happening today, although there were some stocks that moved quite nicely. We had some breakouts in stocks that we tend to watch kind of closely. The Qs were up 0.2%. So that's good, starting to run towards the highs, and we've got some big tech, so obviously that helps us there. And then IWM down about 0.2%. Biotech, let's go to XBI since we trade LABU. Looking pretty good. Again, closing off the lows. Again, a lot of volatility, but we're getting that consolidation here, which is what we want to see. And now remember, we're watching for a break of this range here. We'll just say right around 85. So if we get that, we could hit LABU. I thought about just taking it on a pullback, but decided to wait for the clear signal. And then everything else basically is the same. EWZ continues to run, but maybe this is a pullback candle here. Oil, not doing much, but significantly, China is coming back. So, we had the big drop off the Korean scare, and all the Asian markets were basically down pretty significantly, but coming back up here, back up over the 9, and we'll get to the focus list in a second, but all of the China focus list is looking good, and I think I want to add a position, whether it be the index itself or one of the 4 China stocks that we watch very closely. Now let's get to our positions here. Race, the gap down might hold. If I could, I would stay with it because these analyst downgrades, what usually happens is it's a meaningless downgrade unless a bunch of analysts then follow through and start downgrading as well. But a lot of times it's really meaningless and it ramps back up. I was hoping that would happen intraday today. It didn't. And the problem with where it closed, now if it would have closed at 110, I would have stuck with it. But closing at 108.59 and my stop was right around 108. My fear is, I don't want to go through what I went through earlier in the year where I'd hold close to the stop and then they'd gap down or make a big move down and I take a bigger loss. This is still a very small, manageable loss, so it's fine. It kind of stinks because we were headed right to the target here. And then we got the downgrade, but nothing we can do about that. It's part of being a swing trader. You have to deal with these things that come out of nowhere. Netflix, looking good. Looks like maybe it's going to consolidate here and then make the next run up. Facebook, after pulling back below the 9, closed really strong at 173. Now we just need to get here to about a $1.80 and we can take profits here. So let's keep an eye on Facebook for a potential profit tomorrow. And then FSLR is still in this range, which it's been in forever. Hopefully we get the breakout here at some point. Okay, now let's get to what we're looking for Friday. Now that I'm lighter on the positions with Facebook, Netflix, and FSLR, I can potentially add a position. There are a number of stocks that I really like, and I almost added today, but I want to wait. For instance, Snap here. I wanted to wait to see if I could get a little bit of a pullback, but Snap, we've been talking about this break of the 50 that happened today. So Snap is looking really good here. It's got some short interest, so maybe we could get some squeeze. Volume has been coming in at these lows, so it's everything we want to see in a bottoming kind of remount formation. So if we can enter here maybe tomorrow in the upper 14s, we get really good risk reward at that point. Basically I can risk a point to potentially get 3, 4, 5 points. So Snap, high on the radar. Let's go skip to the China stocks. First, we'll go with the leveraged ETF, putting in the same pattern essentially as FXI. We could enter here right around 29. Top range would get us to 30, and maybe you can hit 31, 32, 33. But more so than the ETF, I like the stocks here. So Baidu, they tend to move a little faster than the ETF. So, and those of you who are looking at Baidu and saying to yourself, well, this is 226, so I can't get as many shares as yin, which is at 29, that doesn't matter. What matters is the percentage gain. So even if you have less shares of this, the fact that it can move more on a percentage basis means you're going to make a bigger profit on Baidu. So Baidu here, we'll watch for the break of 234. That's the high range. Baba is sitting, just enter here, give it about 3 or 4 points, and you need to give it at least 4 points because this does get a little bit volatile, but then top of the range would be 6 points, and maybe we could play for a break. Wubba, now this one gives you a little lower price and it's volatile, so maybe some of you might like this one. Not as strong in terms of volatile, in terms of trend, although it has trended nicely recently, but historically hasn't been as strong, but it has trended nicely recently. Right at the 9, top of the range would get us, 3-4 points, and maybe we could play for a break. And then finally Sina, which is a little extended, but maybe on a pullback, but this wouldn't be for tomorrow. But this is the 4, basically the 4 Chinas that we watched. Now, there were a lot of nice breakouts today in stuff that has come and gone on our focus list over the past year or so. Fei, cybersecurity, popping this morning. I didn't look at some of the other cybersecurities, but I wonder if that has anything to do with the breach with Experian. But anyway, Fei, big breakout. It's got a lot of short interest. This thing could really run. I thought about taking it as an early entry, but did not because we're right. I'd like to see it break these highs before entering. I don't want to have to worry about the resistance there. Fitbit here, big breakout. Now, another one where a lot of things are good for this in terms of overall volume pattern, bottoming formation, a lot of short interest. So a lot of the stuff we like. What concerned me a little bit is every time it breaks out, the breakouts fail. This was a fantastic breakout. This was a nice breakout. This was a nice breakout. And they have all failed. Maybe the difference with this one is we're crossing over the 200 moving average, but I want this to prove itself a little more before I actually take a shot at it. GoPro, I was really interested in GoPro. It ended up being a fantastic day trade, both to the upside and downside, but didn't get to enter because it closed poorly. But I would have loved to, with essentially a quarter of the float is being shorted, which can lend itself to a short squeeze. And then RH, fantastic move here. A lot of short interest, very low float, a lot of volume coming in, and we'll see how this one plays out. So we've got some breakouts to watch here. These breakouts kind of caught us by surprise because we haven't had that many recently. LABU, we talked about. FCX, looking good. You could enter right here. ERX, same thing, cross the 50, looks good right where it is. And Tesla, back in the forefront here, even though not a huge move. If it gets back up over the 9 and it's tested 2 times, so this would be the 3rd time. This time maybe it could run to the top of the range. So a lot of good choices. There's a good chance I will add a position tomorrow. A lot of good choices for you. If I don't, there's plenty of good opportunities here to add a position. Just keep an eye on the market. Make sure the market is reacting okay. No political events. Everything's it's reacting well to whatever's happening with the hurricane, and I think it'll be a good spot to add a position. So we'll see tomorrow. So that's it for the trade report. I'll see you guys tomorrow.